because we published, beloved. Hello, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am so good. I am so happy to be talking to you. I am a little tiny bit of a stalker, because when I saw your book come out, so here's the beautiful cover, How to Be Unmothered. I have the
Yay.
electronic version, so I was
Ooh.
able to listen to it in your voice.
That's what I wanted because that's how I listen to memoir too. I'm like, I need to hear the person reading it. I need
Oh
the
my
information.
gosh,
Yes.
Dr. Adams. So
Oh,
I will say, How to Be Unmothered is such a beautiful memoir, and the fact that you wrote it in prose, like the whole book is you deliver it like a long spoken word poem.
yes. Thank you. It's 300 pages of a poem. It is
Oh,
song. Yes.
I love
Thank
it.
you for
I
getting
love it.
that.
I love it. I love it. So I just want to say congratulations, and
Oh,
we published, beloved. You did it. You did
yes,
it.
girl.
You did
Yes, we
it.
did
You did it.
this.
And so this, conversation, I just wanna ask you about what it was like. So when was your book released? How did you come to the process of knowing this is the book I wanna write?
Ooh, okay. Woo! So let me go. So it was published in August. So August 19th, 2025, which seems like, I don't know, so long ago because it's so cold outside now. And I was book launching in like summer dresses,
Yes.
looking all cute. And I would say less that this is the book that I wanted to write, as opposed to this is the book that wanted itself written
Mm.
and made that very, very, very clear.
Mhm.
And pushed me. So I was living in New York and I was teaching at Kingsborough. I was working with students who were like developmental remedial students who were matriculated but were trying to like pursue. And I'm like, I'm doing all of this work and am I developing myself? But at
Mm.
that time, I was partying because I'm Trini. I was having a good time.
Yes.
I was living, I was doing the whole thing. And I kept being stopped by this voice that just kept saying, go, go, go. And I have all of these poems on my phone where I'm like listening to this voice saying, go. And I'm like, no, I'm not yet, not yet. I'm not ready. And then I go home to Trinidad for Carnival. And
Yes.
yes, girl, because I was like, oh, we doing this.
Yes.
I had a grand old time. And then I'm on Maracas Beach for Ash Wednesday, which is Valentine's Day, coincidentally, that year. And I go into the sea and I'm just like, wading up to my knees a little bit. And then a whole wave, and there's a whole story that I'll just like really condense. I nearly drowned, like very, very. You see that? Yeah, you didn't know that that's where I was going. Yes, child, yes.
Goodness. Okay.
But very, very, very nearly. And like lungs full, I see all of that drama. And while I'm under the water, I am told you didn't do your writing.
Mm.
So as one does, at the point of like being on that threshold, you you take stock and you make promises and you bargain for your life. And you come
Mhm.
out and you apply for a PhD and you go to Florida and you sit and you write the book that was telling you
Yes.
to go in the first place.
Yes. Listen, the ancestors will, if they have to drag you by
Yes.
your baby hairs, okay? The
By the grand, as we would say in
Yeah,
Trinidad,
I
right?
love that.
And oh, do you? Because I was not
I
having
do,
that
'cause
much
I'm like,
fun under the
listen,
water.
I've learned the hard way that if
Yeah.
we don't listen to our ancestors, they just get louder. They'll yell at us. They will put you in a near-death experience, whatever they have to do to
Because the
tell
work
you,
has to be
"I
done.
said what I said." Yeah.
I said what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't hear?
Yeah.
Okay, them who don't hear us feel.
Yeah.
And so I felt,
Mm.
yes.
Okay.
But it was beautiful writing the book. Let me say that because I wrote during COVID
Yeah.
and I needed the remove of it. And I wrote with the trees. And when I had really difficult portions, I went and sat in front of the sea
Yeah.
and I was quiet and it was just me.
Mm.
And I was technically enrolled in my PhD, but I was sort of like very different. Like I stepped away to some extent and I was just dissertating and I just wrote. And honestly, I want another experience like that. I want not COVID, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Yeah.
but like time to just be with the work. Yeah. That was
Mm.
powerful.
So how long did you spend on the actual kind of writing process, that first draft?
The first draft, 2.5 years.
Mm.
Because I just wrote. Let me tell you, I at first, because I would write, I would say I'm a memoirist, period, right? But I was writing short form poems because like my MFA is in poetry, and I was like, yeah, this is my groove, this is my genre. I don't know if I could do a whole book, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't know if I could tell all of these things, if I want to tell all of these things, if I want to confront all of this. And so doing the PhD, at first it was like, my prose doesn't sound like these people's.
Yeah.
And I tried a little bit and I was like, no, I can't do this. So I stopped going to workshop and I was like, forget this. I doing what I need to do. And so the whole thing again, in Trinidad, like our oral narrative culture is so strong, right? The
Yeah.
oral tradition is so powerful. There's so much of like the extempo and kaiso and soca and calypso and all the things and all the joking and all, everything, all the picong. And I was just listening, like I wasn't writing at some
Yeah.
point. I was just kind of just listening to music, like washing ways and just, dancing as one does and blah, blah, blah. And and I was listening and I keep saying I need to put this on the website to be like, well, these are the songs of the book. And I was listening to Bushead by Marshall and Bungie. And Jen, Lord have mercy. I'm just dancing in the apartment and this I don't this download, like my whole head feels as if like it just like I froze. I literally froze. It was this download of information that I hadn't known. It felt like lightning striking,
Mm.
literally. And we're 5 minutes in and I'm all into the
I
supernatural, but
love it.
this is where we are.
To be clear, I'm with you. Let's keep
Girl,
going.
I know you there. That's why we could do this. And two words just landed in my head. And it wasn't just the words, it was this epistemological knowing that
Mm.
I hadn't known before. And the words she knew
Mm.
hit me. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And when that hit I felt electricity through my whole body. And I just put down the words and put down the phone, listening to music and just went on my bed and just started writing.
Mm.
And I couldn't stop. It just flowed. It just kept going and going and going because there was so much that just had to pour out. And I listened to the music of the actual writing, and every chapter came with a song.
Mm.
And I just had to like let it be. It became very much like being a portal and just letting it flow.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And so I just, I because I've read the book, I'm following not just the writing process theoretically, but also with the content that you had to work through. I mean,
Mm.
this is a very we we don't talk a lot about mother wounds. It's just not a thing
It's
that
not a thing.
we're not allowed to talk about it.
Yes.
And specifically as someone who is from such a rich culture that for a lot of us who are USCN born, we know nothing about. And so I imagine that there was also some conflictedness with
Oh,
telling
yes.
this truth, knowing that these people over here who don't know anything about Trinidadian culture would take it and potentially co-opt it or misunderstand it,
Yeah.
or so how did you get the comfort to
Hmm.
tell the truth about unmothering, knowing, people, you never
You're
know how they're gonna absorb and metabolize it.
oh. I several ways. One, I had to be completely myself on the page.
Mm.
Like, and I had some agents that I queried who were like, "Oh, we expected you to like explain Trinidad more." Or, girl, you see, if yes, right, where it's like they want to treat it, especially when it's a black woman writing, right? All of a sudden, we must be anthropologists.
Yes.
And I'm like, "No, I don't have to. I don't have to, like, cater in that way." And I fought in several ways, like, even down to the spelling, to the dialect, to the place, to the everything. I was like, "I'm not explaining anything. There will be no glossary.
Yes,
There will be no" like, because if I have to read British lit and American lit and be like, "Thank you, because I have a PhD and I could teach everybody
that's
lit."
right.
Okay? Then all you could read my lit and understand it too, because the experience is there. It is resonant, right? And I need us to see us on the page. And by us, I mean Trinidadians, Caribbean people, African diasporic people, unmothered people,
Mm,
everybody. The story is there. It is accessible, right? And
yeah.
so I was like, it is very important for me not to compromise myself in the telling, but also not to put them in the room. When I wrote, like I said to you, because I went to PWI to do my PhD, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. I
No,
didn't know.
we could talk about that for days.
For days. Okay.
Okay.
And there was, because I knew my exigence for writing this, right? It wasn't about nobody. It was about, oh, let me make sure I don't dead without telling this
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that I never have to be pulled under the sea again and
Yes.
told, "You didn't do your writing again."
Yes.
I really didn't care. So I was in workshops, and you have these people who are like, "Oh, well," and I was like, "You know what? Scarks, it's not for you. Mash breaks is not for you."
Yes.
And so I sat in my lovely little apartment, and I wrote, sugar, and I wrote, and I said, because honestly, it was a matter of life and death for me.
Mm,
And so I'm not just like the present me, but the child me who
mm,
grew up reading Jamaica Kincaid and grew up reading and grew up seeking, right? Looking for all of these ways in which it's like, no, it can't just be me. It can't just be my mother. I need some understanding here. I could have do a layman's degree in psychology the way I was like searching and researching, right? And I needed the work to speak for that.
mm,
And for it not to be like, "Oh, well, what would the reception be?" I really didn't care. I
mm.
did. I
I
was like,
love that. You know, and I will say, like, I am a Black woman, a Black girl from Oakland, California.
Mhm.
Very different background. And when I tell you, even the way you are describing like when you talk in the book about walking as a child in a community where people are catcalling you, and you're
Yeah.
describing the ways that not only are these men doing this,
Mhm.
but there's women who are
Mhm.
watching it happen. I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is a universal experience."
It absolutely is.
Yes.
Universal. And I am so hesitant and sometimes loath to say that word for all of us who teach, you know what I mean? You know how people try to default like the canon, white canon
Mhm.
mentality. No, but this is actually universal.
Yes.
I have had people from every walk of life, and that is the part they always come up and they're like, "Camille, girl, I was walking in India.
Ooh,
I'm in Thai. I'm walking here, and I had this exact same experience." And the thing that they will shoo in, because they will say the men, but they're so hesitant and they didn't realize that the women are complicit
yes.
and facilitating it. And
Ooh,
it was like, "Oh, you didn't put no water in your mouth."
mm,
And I was like, "Exactly." And
mhm,
that is the part when they have to confront that. They're like, "Oh, these are the ways that our mothers purposely harmed us." Yes.
mm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm writing a memoir myself about
Ooh.
unmothering. And so
Ooh.
yeah.
I've seen your threads where you're like, "You're
Woo!
doing I see you contending."
It
Are you really?
and the what you're describing is so accurate. It's like there's this tension, right,
Mhm.
of how we tell it, right? It's like I've read a lot of books now on mothering and mothers who cannot love and
Mm,
memoirs on mothers, and there's a certain way I think in your particular book
mm,
that you give honor and regard to the child who was living this, right? You don't zoom out and
nope.
up to be the academic who now is asked to interrogate or translate. You stay with the children.
Yes.
And I guess I'm wondering in the publishing process, how did publishers how did they receive that?
I think that I would have okay. Okay, so I have told you that I am very pro gossip, right?
Yes.
So, okay, You know what? No, let me not couch anything or any of that. No disclaimers. I think that there's a lot of contemporarily, and I mean it's happened historically, but contemporarily, especially since people aren't reading as much, there's a lot of using marketing for merit, right? I've
Mm,
said that before, where people are told that this book is good. And I think that in order to be told book is good, or for your book to be listed on all of the lists, right? And to be the book of the diamond of the season and to be
mhm,
everywhere, that it has to comply with the tropes that publishing likes to put forward,
mhm,
right? And those tropes are such that they continue to uphold particular stories. And some of those stories are, we do not in any way dethrone or in any way critique motherhood. You don't do that. You don't do that. We come from, it's like all of this mothering, and we know why, right? Because I mean, patriarchy, capitalism, you need a woman's womb, all of those things, right? So you can't say nothing about mothers.
right.
Okay, it's like basic atheism, since mothers are treated like goddesses,
God,
right? Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it's blasphemy. You can't do that.
yeah,
And so I think that I have fought because this is the book, and I think so. Vincent Van Gogh is like my favorite artist. I know I'm going all around, but I'm going to come back. And I think that Van Gogh, someone that we go to museums now and we
yeah.
stand in front of his work and we see the power in it. And at the time that that was not recognized. I think that there is art that lasts
Mm,
and that reaches hearts and souls and that exist on other planes and that are there for access when people are ready. And sometimes it's individuals and sometimes it's a cultural zeitgeist
mm,
shift. And I think the work will endure.
mm,
And so I will say that right now, there are people who are like, I would say it's like there's a lot of receptivity, but there is also, how dare you? How dare yes, yes, how dare you? And a lot, because how many people who will be abused by mothers
yeah,
or who will have had bad mothers or
yeah,
seen bad mothering and will spend their whole lives justifying.
yeah,
And we do that, right? She was just a girl and
yeah,
generational trauma and we
yeah,
where people are coming from and they did their best and
yeah,
all of these excuses and nobody's staying with the child. That is why there's such a backlash, I think, against Toni Morrison right now as well, because she spent her whole career writing from the child's perspective,
mm,
right? We had to stay with Piccola. We had to stay with
mm,
Child Sooner Adeli. We had to stay
mm.
with Beloved. We had to
And
stay with
Denver,
Denver,
yes,
right?
yes,
And now people who are illiterate, unable to read it, are like, oh, this woman was too difficult. Oh, no, no, because there is a complete girl. Because child, child endangerment, child abuse, child labor is the last threshold in a capitalist society, in a
mm,
late stage capitalist society that says we require children to be the ones that we disempower
ah,
with impunity. We should be able to do this, right?
you
Right,
preaching,
girl.
okay?
Sometimes I just go there. I just have to so when you say, but wait now, the child is somebody who has full intelligence, who has sovereignty, who is a person who should be respected, who should
Yes,
be loved, who was entitled to being treated humanely. That is what we protesting.
mm,
Imagine that.
mm,
Because you can't say no more, women deserve to be raped and beaten.
mhm,
You can't say no more, well, we could be racist or colorist or I mean, it have all of these is. But the last thing that you could be is prejudicial toward a child.
yes. Ooh, and it's so I was gonna bring Toni Morrison into the conversation.
Let me do it
I was
because
gonna,
we
and you did it, and that's exactly why I love Morrison so much because she
yes,
stays with the folks who are being harmed
the
in
actual
every
people.
story. Yeah, even in Beloved, right? She
Yes,
manages to hold Setha's trauma and pain while
yes,
acknowledging the pain of both Denver and Beloved,
yes.
this unborn child.
Exactly. This child whose life was taken away,
Yes,
and Denver, who's locked in this house. Denver,
yes,
who's the one who has to go out by herself into this community and seek help,
and save
right?
her family.
And save
Ah,
her. Girl,
whew,
okay, okay,
okay.
okay.
Listen, I didn't know we was gonna be preaching today,
We, I wasn't prepared, but
but
apparently we.
that's what I appreciate
No.
about your book so much, and it's so funny because it was the ending for
Mm.
me that really did it when you're like, "You mean to tell me I waited all this time to see
Or
you and you gonna take me to McDonald's. I said, "Ooh, that's a good point." I said,
Thank you.
that's concerning."
That's good. That is the subtle things. Let me tell you, but did
Subtle.
I tell you can I tell you that my editors wanted me to take that out?
Why?
And I yeah, every because they were like, "Oh, this doesn't really," and I was like, "You don't get
You
it,
don't
but
understand it
other people will get
culturally.
it." And can I tell you how many people come up to me and they're like, "Camille, McDonald's," even when I was recording the audiobook at Tanto Studios, my audio technician had to pull up. She took a break. She said, "Camille, ooh, after that McDonald's piece, I need a break."
I did too. I said, "Oh my gosh," because what it does is it for me, it was traumatizing because it reminded me of my own mother who,
Mm.
that neglect shows up in so many subtle ways, and people don't understand it doesn't necessarily look like neglect, right? But
Because they're
for a
accustomed to
child,
neglect.
yes, for a child who's sitting here, you got your babies, your sisters on this plane, you're struggling,
Mhm.
you're on your own, you just ran away from your
Literally ran.
homeland,
Yes.
and the
Ran away
reception is
from
not
an
even a
abusive
meal.
man. Exactly. It's like and you know how we think about it? Okay, so I'm reading this Anne Bishop book right now because I need to like because I'm writing,
Yeah.
and so I need to like really light stuff to read. And so I don't know if I could call this light, but whatever. And there's this woman who's preparing no, this is not like Camille. There's this woman who's preparing to leave her very rich, abusive husband, right?
Yeah.
And so she has to go to the library and inquires if she's writing a book about domestic abuse. And she's like looking at researching women's shelters and thinking about how to have her own P.O. box and her own checking account and all of these steps women have to undertake to save their lives,
Yeah.
right? To run from a man who is physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, economically abusive.
Mm.
But we have the language for that, right?
Yeah.
When a woman runs to domestic shelter,
Yeah.
we're like, okay, she's getting away, she's taking some agency in her life, she's trying to save herself. But
Mm.
when a child has to run from an abusive parent, there is no language for that.
Mm.
And there's no understanding of how much more strength and courage,
Yeah.
right? And how much more danger there lies in the way for a child to do that. So you run. You run not just from a man, not just from a house, not just from a family, but from a country
Mm.
as a child, right?
Mhm.
And you are taking care of other children because this is how my mother made me a mother for the children that she abandoned.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about parental.
Yeah.
All right. And you arrive, right? And this is how she shows up in not showing up. No, let us define neglect.
Mm.
And if for people who are the cultural like scholars out there, let me give you a comparison if you aren't able to see it for yourself. I want you
Yeah.
to go and read Edwidge Danticat's Brother I'm Dying.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to read the whole thing, but read the very beginning when she is left in Haiti, her parents have to leave her there, and when she is being taken from Haiti to New York because they're ready to bring her, right? They're ready to have her come. And I want you to go and read the section where her father loses his job because that day he was like, no, I have to go and collect my children from
Mm.
jail. And the boss threatened him, was like, if you leave here, you don't have a job. And it's like, my children, I go in.
Mm.
And he goes home before he goes to the airport. He and the mother, Jen, they cook a whole feast
Mm.
and they spread the table with all of the favorites. I mean, whole day cooking, things that had been seasoning the night before in the freezer,
Mm.
whole thing. And you bring the children home and you sit them down and you have a whole welcome banquet. Can I tell you that when I read that book years after I wrote mine,
Mm.
how I
I
bawled
was
at
gonna
that?
say, yeah.
Because this is what love looks
That's
like.
what love looks like.
And McDonald's is what unlove
Mm.
looks like.
Oof.
And we know that unlove is not hate. It is a purposeful showcase
Mm.
of what pretense is supposed to be and a gaslighting
Mm.
and a very declarative proclamation of I do not love you.
Ooh.
7 years and you give me
Ooh.
McDonald's. Oh, oh no, you are a
Oof.
psychopath, evil woman. Let us call a thing a thing.
Oh, I listen, I understand. I said, "We have the same mom, just born in different places."
Yeah,
You
yes,
know?
absolutely.
And I think, oof, oof, that's sitting in my spirit.
Girl,
Because it takes a certain bravery to
Mhm,
be honest about that, to say,
mhm.
"This woman just didn't love me." I just got there last year. I am 41, and I just
Thank you.
got to the point where I could say, "Oh, wait, you actually just don't love me,"
Yes,
right? And you were able to put this in a book. So we've talked a little bit about the publishing process, but were you agented? Did you have someone advocating for you to do this, or did you have to go do this on your own?
I had to go through this on my own, and
Wow.
I for book 2, I absolutely want an agent
Yeah.
because and it's not to say that I didn't want an agent for book 1, but I was and I'll say it from 2 sides. One, like, I think the material scared people off, right? They're like, "Well, we don't know how to market this," and which is something that being a Black woman
Yes.
constantly hears. There's an
Yes.
immigrant, right? We don't know how to market this." And then for some people who I did query who were Caribbean or who had ties with the Caribbean, were like, "Oh, well, we expected to see Trinidad more." And I was like, "Oh," and I knew the books they were referring to because there are some books that open as if it's a freaking Wikipedia
Ugh,
page. Girl, and I'm so serious. Like, let me translate this small
but
remote
you did. I'm confused.
so
The Trinidad is all through this. I mean, even the opening scene takes like forever. You're
yes,
just in a car and you're describing what you see, what you smell,
yes.
what you hear. I was in there with you.
Thank you. That is good reading. I will also say that one good thing that my editors did were was like the developmental editing. Like I had it sectioned in like essays. And so what they're like, okay, let's consider this chronologically. And that mild shifting was really powerful. So that I know that going forward, like when I am querying eight agents for book 2, which will be very soon because I'm nearly done, it's yes, yes, girl. It's like, okay, we need to be looking at this as a chronological arc, which is
Yeah.
I mean, it makes complete sense. I will say that I had to advocate for myself a lot, and in some ways that's a good thing. In other ways, there are ways in which I really do wish that I had an agent who could have done this because there are some ways in which I was like dissatisfied with some things and I wanted but you don't know until you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, ask me in a year because I'm still gonna work some things out.
Hear you. Your first book, I tell people all the time that first book is so confusing and you just kind of
Yes,
it's like you don't like you said, you don't know what you don't know, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
And so was this the publishing process? So how did you end up landing on your publisher?
So I entered the Restless Books New Immigrant Writing Prize. And yes,
I love that.
I know. I love that for me too. Cause I was
Yes.
like, okay, let's do this. This is a Trinidadian memoir. And there's a lot of like xenophobia in American publishing, right? And that is black and white, where it's
You are
like,
right.
yes, quite so, where it's like, we want American stories.
Yes.
And I have done charts, and I will put this in one of my books. I took it down from Twitter, but it went viral, where I was talking about the ways in which like certain races and demographics are expected to tell certain stories. Because
Mm.
I did a whole girl, don't give somebody with a PhD a bone to pick, because we will pick that
Because we
bone,
will
right?
forever.
We will, we really will. I will use the research and I will go there. And so I was like, so like Latinx people have to write about like family and
Mhm.
genealogy, right? Asians have to write about war, and
Mhm. And
and
food.
black people
Mhm.
have to write some iteration of slavery.
Yes.
So it needs to be slavery, or it needs to be the prison, or it needs to center white people. Oh, this is how I tragically
Oh
fell
god.
victim to like whiteness, so that white people could read it and be like, oh, even in a brutal way, we are the center of these people's lives, right? And it's like, yeah. And I was like, ah, no, there are no white people in my book.
Mm.
This is not my thing. I don't have to center everything about this, right? I am a black woman. I have so many things to say. So I would say that that's why I entered that competition, because I was like, okay, let me consider my demographics, right? Because I'm just writing and I want to write about mother wound, but people are seeing me as an immigrant. So I entered that prize. I didn't win,
Mm,
but which is the rare thing, I don't think they've done this before. They still wanted to publish my work.
yeah.
And so there's a lot that happened behind the scene. I think I should have won, but anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Okay. Let's just call a thing a thing. But and that's not to take away from
Absolutely.
the person who did
Yeah.
win
Yeah.
and, wonderful, la la la, all that good stuff. So the book was published and it's been really beautiful having it out in the world. And there have been so many people who have contacted me and this is the thing that I didn't anticipate. People are like reaching out to me directly. They're not even doing like Goodreads or whatever. They're like, it feels so personal to them that they come straight to my DMs and they're like, Camille, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, whoa.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that
Uh,
I would say that it has found its readers. I will obviously love for it to find even more readers,
yeah.
but when it reaches people, they're like, "Oh my god, I just had to like, this is breaking me," or "This is my whole story on the page," or "This is my mother, and this is what I didn't know,
Yeah.
and this is my best friend's story, and I didn't understand, and this is my grandmother's, and now I feel closer to her," and it's very, very resonant, and it tells narratives that have not been told, which is what I
Mm.
wanted. So, yes.
I yeah, I see that after I finished it, I wanted to be like, "Oh my god," like, I think we were in that Zoom call and I was like, "I just read your book. I just read your book. It's incredible." I have been telling so many people about this book,
Thank you.
because I think that there's just a certain intentionality, and so, I know from personal experience how hard it is to navigate publishing when you are deeply intentional, you know?
Yes.
So, how did that
Thank you
so
for
in terms
saying
of
that.
your like, did you plan a book tour? Like, did you have certain places you wanted to go to present this book to folks? Like, what did that look like for you?
So the book tour, so I had an event at Books and Magic. That was the launch. That was the and I reached out to Nadia Owusu
Yeah.
and like just cold emailing her because I was like, your book meant so much because
Yeah.
when I was doing my PhD, I was reading all of these memoirs, right? And she writes about her mother like her African father and her Armenian mother, and the ways in which her mother just like left her as a child
Mm,
and would just show up at these intervals and just complete neglect and just desert her and just abandon her. And then her
mm.
father dies. And so she's completely ungrounded. And I was like, oh, Nadia, your work was like so meaningful. I would love if you would please be in conversation with me. And can I tell you that we have some great literary citizens out there?
Yeah.
Because she wrote back so enthused
Yeah.
and so kind.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay, you
Yes.
don't know me from Adam. And so we had a wonderful book launch, which was that this girl showed up with all her notes. This is how
Come
you know she's
on.
at Columbia. She was I wrote her back like, no, I wrote her before the launch and I was like, "Is there anything that you need? Is there like kind of checking in?" She's like, "No, I'm good." I was like, "Oh, okay." Get there. She has all the notes, and I was like, and it turns out that we both teach Jamaica Kincaid's Lucy, which
Mm.
I think is such a text for all the unmothered writers.
Yeah.
And so I had that launch, and then I on 2 days later, I had a book launch with Brooklyn Caribbean Lit Fest and Greenlight, which was stunning, and it was like 2 different audiences. So it was a more of a general audience and all of the friends and all of the readers in the first one, and then a very deep Caribbean
Mm.
community in the second one, and it was so beautiful and just very moving, and people were like there it was like we were all I don't know, like we was in the savannah and we were just having a whole yes. And then I had several events after. So I had Brooklyn Book Festival, I had Miami Book Festival, and then
Yeah.
like had fall for the book in Virginia, which was a whole experience. My
Yeah.
God, I had never been to Virginia before.
Yeah.
And the trees have memories there, child. Whoa.
Yeah, child. Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is definitely where slavery started in the
Yeah.
US. Yes. And the memory is seeped
You
into
can
the earth.
feel it. Yeah.
You can feel it, you can see it, you can be transported to it. It was a lot.
Uh-huh.
And so I had several events and those were amazing. And then I've had other podcasts and other things. What I will say, and I don't know because I'm superstitious,
Mm.
but I want to tour with this book in the Caribbean.
Mm.
That is what I absolutely want.
Yeah.
I want to have workshops in the Caribbean. I definitely want to, and so fingers crossed, knock on wood, hope for me that I would love
Yes.
to present this book in Trinidad
Yes.
and and in Grenada and take it back to the soil. Oh God, my heart just
Yeah, back to your people.
yes, I
Oof.
that would mean a lot to me.
I
So
love that. So I'm interested to see how did you get connected to the book festivals? How did you because they are really intense and you are writing a
yeah.
story that I imagine people were like, "Oh," So how did that work for you? Was it a difficult process?
It was to some extent because you have to send a lot of emails, and so there was a lot of sincere, like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," but also, again, you don't know what you don't know, and all I know was that I wanted the book out there because I did all of this work, so I was just, like, doing a lot of marketing, and then editors at Restless Walls, so sending out emails and all of that too, but I will say a lot of it was coming through, like, me reaching out to people. And I think there's something that people relate to when the author is like very sincere and just being like, hey, this is what I want to do. And will you like accord me this? And so, yes. And I think I could be doing some more of that. But I will say there's a fraught space where a writer has to remember that a writer is a writer, right?
Mm,
And I want, and this is for me as well. No, it's primarily for me because I get to the point where like, I can't be a content producer, a
yeah.
content creator, rather. I'm not a marketer. I do want the work to go out into the world, and this is also why I want an agent, because I think if you have, like, a strong marketing team, because I've seen peers who have strong marketing teams, and their books are everywhere, and it's not really just about the merit, it's really about, like, the marketing. And I'm
You're
sorry,
right.
I mean, don't take away from their work, but
Uh-huh.
no, they have people who are devoted to this, and I think that if we get caught up in the algorithm and in all of these things, which we could never satisfy, we absolutely could never satisfy this, then that can make you feel inadequate and it can take you away from who you are. I said that I'm writing the second book, and there is a withdrawal that happens when I write. It's like an octopus. You know when an octopus pulls back its tentacles and like pulls over the
Yeah.
coconut shell on its
Yeah.
head and retreats? I have to write in that space, and I can't or be completely public facing and in my head while I'm writing. So I'm still showing up, but I also have to honor that I am doing this other work as well. And so I would say this is again listening to myself because I listened to girl, well, I listened after multiple goes, right?
Mhm, mhm.
I listened to myself in the writing, and I have to listen to myself at this point as well.
I love that. I think that is absolutely right. I mean,
Oh,
writers write. Our job is to write. We
is the
can't be our own
right.
publicist and the content creation stuff, I'm just not cut out for content creation.
You can't do it. You can't
It's
do it.
overwhelming. I get overstimulated. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But you will also lose, like, your literary prowess.
That's
Can I
right.
tell you that I have seen people that I would have admired before, and the more that I see them, like, being this figure, which
Mm,
I don't even think works anymore, like, they being this figure on social media, like, when I do go to their book readings, I'm like,
mm.
you're using some catchphrases, but I'm not seeing the depth anymore."
Intimacy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
Oof.
like, let's make sure that we're not in any way cutting ourselves down to satisfy something because social media is sort of like an abusive relationship, not to you know what I mean? Okay, you know when you never feel like you're good enough and you have to like, well, this is the thing and you want me to do this and you want if you were dating somebody and they wanted you to keep changing and to keep showing up and to keep, well, this is good enough. Do you love me now? You would be exhausted.
That's
I
right.
can't do it. I
That's right.
can't do it.
No,
I
you're
can't do
right.
it.
You're right. I
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to hear as you were going through this process because 'cause you're still very much in this process. You're in the
Yes.
first year. So,
Yes.
any surprises, anything that came up that you were like, "Oh, I had no idea I had to prepare
Mm.
for this."
Oh. I had no idea, that and you're catching me early in the morning when I am very truthful,
Yeah, yes.
that that some people would want me to continuously perform heartbreak
Ugh.
and would not again, for especially for writers of color, we are hardly asked about our craft. And I'm like, do you not understand that I am one? This is my doctoral work, right? I am like I'm an educator. I teach. This is what I do full time, right?
Mhm.
And I write. And most of the times, no, I don't want to say most of the times. Sometimes I am asked some questions where I'm like, you are coming to terms with this, but you are transplanting your reckoning onto me because you want a performance of being bereft or figuring it out. I figured it out before I wrote. And
And you can tell in the book,
yeah,
I mean, even this child by the end is like, "I'm not doing this shit anymore."
I'm not doing it.
It's very clear that there's a resolution at the end.
Yes. But you see, it's not the typical resolution in like wrap up with a nice red bow and a happily ever after. I
Mhm.
eschew happily ever afters because especially if it's not realistic. It's not realistic here. The happily ever after is in the claiming of
That's
self.
right.
Okay?
That's right.
It is not it is not this hey, and there's some memoirs, and people gonna say I throw in words, because if they know me, then they know, but still, there's some memoirs where people will abuse you in the worst ways, right?
Yeah.
Like, pick up a cutlass for you and do all kind of thing.
Yeah.
And and your ending is mommy and daddy and me. We love each other and we good and we can see eye to eye. And I'm like, oof, child.
Yeah, I'm like, "Ooh, child, you
You,
still in the trauma cycle. You haven't you haven't
you
healed,
still
boo
there?
boo."
You but people will read that and be like, they love that because this is what their culture teaches, that whole Jesus mentality. By the end, everybody must be nice and good. And I'm like, but where's the respect for yourself?
That's
Where's the
right.
respect for the child?
That's
And
right.
what is your responsibility that you're putting out work that says, you know what? Run me down with a cutlass
Right.
or me out or nearly kill me or sleep with my boyfriend or neglect me, don't feed me, don't clothe me, send me to school anyhow. Do all the treatment. And by the end, we're gonna find our way back together. You want to be back together with somebody like that?
Yeah, that's a trauma bond that I don't
That is
have
a
any
trauma
desire. Yeah,
bond.
no, thank you.
Okay. And I wish you'd done the work before you had written this irresponsible
Oh,
book.
that's what
Okay.
I'm saying right there. That's it. Because when I'm so tired of reading
Let's go.
memoirs where I'm like, "You were not ready to write this book.
Thank you. Jen, thank you. You was not ready
You
to
weren't
write.
ready
And
to
you
write
know
this
what,
book."
beloved? It's showing up.
Yeah.
You was not ready to go there. And that is a thing. Because let me tell you, when I was doing my undergrad, I tried to write memoir about my father. And it broke me. Like I started getting
Yes.
sick.
Yeah.
And I luckily had a professor who was like, Camille, your writing is lovely and you are very diligent. So I know you want to do this work, but you're not ready.
Yeah.
This was a white woman who said to me, you're not ready. And you know what? I said, thank you, because I am not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to honor that because I cannot cannibalize myself for
That's
that. But let
right.
me tell you, when I wrote this book, I was
That's what
ready.
I'm saying. See, same process. I started my memoir 20 years ago.
You see?
And
You
when I
see?
picked it up last year, I said, "Oh, absolutely not." The
Okay.
ways I was trying to rescue these people
Oh,
from
shit.
their own behaviors, and I had to
Oh,
get rid of all of that because the first draft, was unhealed. I have a abusive father too, and he was still alive at the time, and so there was a part of me that felt this obligation
yes.
to tell this
Yes.
beautiful story about
Mm-hmm.
him and about my mother, and so I got back and I read this book and I said, "This is a lie. This book is a lie.
Clock it.
This book is a lie," and
It's
I
a
had to
lie.
go back and write the memoir and tell the absolute truth, but I think
The
that's the
ugly
thing,
truth.
people hurt with that because it's not just
Yes.
telling the truth to other people, it's telling the truth to themselves.
And that is the part.
Yeah,
And because there's so much power in telling the truth,
yeah,
and I'm very hesitant to say that, memoir heals you because you still and I say this to anybody who's writing memoir now,
yeah,
get a good therapist while you're
yes,
writing. While you are writing,
yes,
you need a good therapist
yes, big time.
because you will know all the things. And then when you put pen to page, my
Yes,
love,
mm,
there will be things that you did not know. There is something that happens neurologically
mm,
that that conjures memory from
Mm,
your body
mm.
when you literally put pen to paper, not the
Yes.
computer. And you write, there are things that you will be transported to that you have to be in a space to be ready to
Oh.
hear and to feel again and to acknowledge and to confront and to go to a therapist and say, oh shit,
Mhm.
this is what I didn't know and this is what is coming up.
Mhm.
And to continue the writing because the writing is not spewing, right? It is not vomiting. It is craft.
That's
To bring it back
right.
to it is craft. It
That's
is
right.
making something artful and beautiful, right? Because we have the skill to do that
That's right.
out of this situation that you're utilizing as a synecdoche to showcase something,
Yes.
right? This is not my diary. I'm not reading my diary to all you,
Yes.
right? So stop behaving like I just let you into my life. This is a curated
Yeah.
writing that I had to do. Look at the craft.
Yeah.
If it was a man, you would be talking about like the voice and you'd be talking about the propulsion and you'd be talking about the arc and the tension and the
Mm.
stakes. Why for a woman you want to talk about healing your
Come
inner
on.
child? Why you don't ask me
Ooh.
about all of the ways that I utilize craft here,
Ooh.
that there's setting and that there's dialogue and that there's poetry. Somebody wrote a 300-page poetry memoir
It's
and
incredible.
you want to ask me simply about, well, you and your mother just talk. Look at the writing.
Ooh. Mm.
Look at it.
Ooh,
No,
I'm so ooh, my heart is moving right now. You are preaching. You hear
girl,
me?
no. Because I feel a way about this.
Mm.
I feel a way
And you have
about
a
it.
right to feel away. Your book is so impeccably crafted. It is so intentionally made. And so for me, I came away from it and I just had a deep reverence and respect for you and for younger you. I wasn't sitting there like, oh my gosh, but what your mama doing? And, what happened with your dad and that lady he was dating? You know, like, that, no, no interest, no interest whatsoever.
No,
I'm like, fuck her stove, you know,
okay. And fuck her stove and her gas
and her
tank.
little raggedy bucket of water. I was mad. I was mad.
As you should be, because it's like, but then ask me, Camille, what it mean for you to describe that barrel where I could feel the griminess and I could feel the shame and I could feel the tension and I
Yeah,
could feel all of that that you had to undergo and
yeah.
that you not only had to experience once, but you had to go back when you
Repetitive,
were writing it
repetitive.
to
Yeah.
bring it forth again.
Whew.
Respect the power in doing that.
Mm.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. We gotta talk offline because
girl, we do.
I have so many thoughts. When you described her dipping that damn ladle back in that damn barrel and getting the water and then getting this nasty water and put the dirty water, I said, I want to hit this lady. I want to
Yes.
fight her. And it was
Mm,
so again, I think that's the subtlety of your memoiristic style, right? Is that you were just describing the thing that happened. And those of us who get it because it was a
it.
disrespect to the cultural artifact of your household,
Yes!
you know?
Yes!
Yeah.
And so I will not be the interpolator, I will not be the extrapolator who will sit there as the academic, right? Where it says, and because I listen to all of these things and obviously read and all of that,
Yeah.
and it's like there is this thing that's taking place in like current media because people aren't really reading,
No, they're
right? The
not.
literacy is like at a level where you have to explain everything. And I'm looking at books on the list right now, and I'm like, there's a lot of
It's a
explanation. You
lot of
give me a
explanation.
scene and then you stepping back out as the author at the desk and you explaining the scene to me and telling me how I should feel. No, leave. And well, we'll take it back to Morrison, who speaks about like
Yeah.
leaving white space on the page.
Mhm.
This is where, and especially from a culture where it's like call and response,
Mm.
right? You must have room, and you see it even with my typography. There is room for the reader to step in there
Yeah.
because I need you to have a vicarious experience and for it to
Mm.
be visceral. So
Yes.
all I have to do is transport you back
Oh.
and let you be there and see the barrel
Mm.
and see this woman and smell this and taste this and touch that. And I don't have to step out
My
and do
God.
you a discredit and a disservice of explaining to you what I just transported you to. Okay? It takes craft to do. That's what I say. For who it is who ready, they're ready.
Yeah.
They're
I
ready.
listen. I don't even have any more questions. I'm just talking to you because I'm just having the time of my life. I don't the interview is technically over. But but I'm just like, "Oh my gosh," because memoir is such a difficult genre to do well.
Yes.
And I think you made choices that for me as both a writer and a reader, I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I see the matrix." Like, you were not playing about this story, you know?
No.
So I don't I mean, there's no question in that. I'm just wondering, is there anything else you wanna share, specifically for memoir, folks who wanna move into memoir?
Oh,
Any other kind of words of wisdom for first time Black and or queer writers? Like, what how do you
I
do
love that.
and also for folks who are African diasporic, who are Black
Yeah.
diasporic, who are also thinking about the situatedness of their stories with respect to other Black communities.
Yes, because I want us to have that regard, that Pan-Africanism, right?
Yeah.
Because how many times have we talked about Morrison? I didn't grow up in like in America. I
Yeah.
am very Trinidadian, and
Yeah.
there's still this deep appreciation because it's like it's brilliant work, right?
Yeah.
We get it. One, I would say on the crafts level, do not let memoir be your first genre.
Mm.
That is highly important. Memoir is, it's sort of like how English is the compilation of Latin languages, right? And German and all of these things that find themselves into the like this amalgamation. Memoir requires you to understand the elements of fiction
Mm.
and understand poetry's conciseness
Mm.
and understand reportage.
Mm.
So you need to make sure because there needs to be logos in there as well, right? You have to ground the thing. I need you before you write this memoir to take a couple workshops in some other genres. Take a poetry workshop so you know how to put language together in a gorgeous way, right? And to be condensed when you need to be and to be like to have some metric like movement in there. Take a fiction workshop so you understand how to create scene and setting
Mm.
and have like dialogue in there as well. And then get quiet
Mm.
because you need to hear your voice.
Yeah.
There are some people who are professional workshoppers,
Yeah.
right? In everybody workshop. There's
Child.
a time for workshopping. I know that you want to post on Twitter that, you know, you get into this and you get into that and this and but where the work? But where the
Where
work?
is the work?
But where the work? Okay. Take your time.
Mm.
Take your time. Right? And go to workshops when you're ready and you have a question.
Mm.
Don't tell the workshop everything. I said this on Instagram. Do not reveal the
Yeah.
thesis of your work in a workshop.
Saw that.
Girl, don't
Saw
do it.
that. I saw that.
Don't do it. Don't. Because we know, we know what
Yeah,
happens when
they'll
you do
drag it
that.
all up and down the streets, and then you'll abandon the whole idea.
Exactly. It's not ready. You have to be ready to go to war for this. And you need, because you will go to war. You will fight your editors.
Yeah.
You will fight your publishers and you will fight when you publish it. And some people want to come at your neck and you have to be like, let me remind you who I am and why you wrong. Because you can't, but you have to do that when you are strong. And to be strong, you
Yeah.
must be quiet first.
Oof.
Get yes, stay with the work and listen to what the work has to do and have some respect for where the work is coming from.
Mm.
Right? Like, not everybody is a whole, honor of our ancestors and all of that. If you are, respect where the work is coming from,
Love that.
right?
Mm.
And where it has to go. Just do what you have to do. That would be my thing. One other thing for those of us who are like, we're publishing the book and we're on, we're doing our publications and we're doing our marketing and all of that.
Yeah.
Respect yourself as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to give everything. Don't beg nobody to buy your book.
Ooh.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You did the work. You respect the work. Let the work go out into the world. The book has a journey of
That's
its
right.
own. Give as much as you can,
That's right.
but recede and give yourself love
That's right.
and allow for this to be connection and community. Because we having a conversation here and there's so much synchronicity and so much sisterhood
Yeah.
that this will go beyond,
That's right.
right? Let the book give you community. Let it give you love
Mm.
and give yourself that peace. You did the
Mm.
work. praise yourself. You do the work, right?
Mm.
But listen, yes,
Listen,
I
I
think.
can't stand when I see an author online begging folks to buy their book.
What you begging for?
I
What you
don't
begging for?
I it pains me, especially
Yeah.
when it's a Black woman doing that. I just
Like you're shucking and you're jiving and you're
yeah.
shucking. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do
No,
it.
I never
And if your
will.
house making you beg or the algorithm making you think you need to beg, log off, beloved.
Yes,
Yeah.
log off, beloved. Come on, that's a new podcast. Log off, beloved.
Don't give me ideas because that's
Log off, beloved. Come on.
a whole word.
Ooh, come on. That's like something Jesus would say. Log off, beloved.
Log off.
T- Whew,
Go
I
outside.
need to put a
Go
look
back
on
to
you.
the analog.
When I'm in New York, I'm gonna come. I need to come find you because
Yes, yes, we'll go and have some lunch. Yes, I will
I need
take you
to
to a Caribbean
absorb this in
restaurant.
person because you are preaching. I can't wait till your next book comes out so I can have a reason to
Oh,
bring you back on. I mean, here, look, I'm just sitting here looking at the book, and I also just love the cover. I haven't said anything about the cover, but
it's prettier.
it's beautiful. It is beautiful, and I was staring at it. I'm like, is this a dress? I'm like, oh, I'm seeing everything here. I'm seeing the trees.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where when I first saw the cover, I said, I have to know what is in this book.
I love
You
that.
know?
Sarah did a good job
Yeah.
because I asked her because we went back and forth again and again and again, and so she was so generous. She was like, she loved the book, and she's like, I have to get this right. And I was like, I want fracturing, and so I want ripping because there's so much, right? I want the
Mhm.
mother's face on the because I'm implicating her. We ain't covering nothing. I want the trees that I am honoring. I want that
That damn dress.
that damn
That
dress.
damn dress.
And let's just add that. I needed that damn dress on the
Woo!
page.
I
I
said, "She
did.
done put her in this dress that she know doggone well she don't wanna wear."
Okay,
Come on.
okay.
So,
Girl,
I
thank
just
thank you for seeing that. Can
absolutely.
I just say you are a beautiful reader? Like you have no, seriously, seriously. Like this is you are someone who can not just read technically and like cerebrally, but also emotionally and spiritually. And that is under massive amount of like generosity. And it's
Mm.
so gorgeous to witness. Not
I
even just talking about my book, but just being like a
yeah.
great reader.
I think
Yes.
that's the other thing is that you are in a genealogy and a canon of Black women writers
Mm.
who take us somewhere, you know? And I think for me, that's my favorite type of reading. It actually doesn't matter what the genre is, but
Yes.
something about Black women writers, Octavia does this, right? Audrey
Yes.
does this.
Yes.
Tony she does this.
Can I add another one who did it the other day and I read it and I
Yes,
was like, it comes from a prophetic truth telling
yes.
that you're not afraid to tell. When I read Thick and Other Essays by
Woo!
Dr. Tracy,
By Tressie.
girl,
Tressie can write her ass off. You hear me?
that book, Jen, that
Woo!
book felt as if somebody splayed my insides and got it. They
Mhm.
got it. And I was like, yes.
And I will say Roxanne's Hunger did the same thing to me. Listen, it's sitting right here. I
It's on my bookcase up
right?
here.
Because when I tell you, I remember I was sitting in the bathtub during grad school, and I was reading that book, and I'm crying and
Oh
just,
God.
and so and it's one of those things where it's cathartic. It's cathartic, but it's also it's like you said, a portal.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I'm just grateful for you. Again, the interview is over. I'm sorry. I have to.
Girl, don't
Okay,
apologize. We're
we
good.
published, beloved. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
But
so
also,
much,
I just
and you
wanna
are
thank
amazing.
you for your work and for your
Oh,
existence and for your bravery to write something that so many people are afraid to write. So thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for this conversation. Just it filled my heart, it filled my soul. Thank you. I am so happy when I have like deep connections that go
Yes.
beyond, and you have granted that. You are amazing. And I can't wait to see your work and to continue cheering you on. And thank you for all of your literary citizenship, all of
Thank
the ways in
you.
which you're highlighting Black women writing,
Thank
because we
you.
need to do our own thing. We need to be
We
doing our
do,
own
we
thing.
do, we
Yeah.
do.
And I appreciate that.
Thank you.